Hi, welcome back. This is Totally Truthful. This is episode 3. This week we'll be discussing whether the human race should inhabit exoplanets or if we should stay here on Earth. There are thousands of exoplanets that have been discovered in the past decade or so, all of them outside of our solar system, which is where they get the name exoplanet. Because these planets lie outside of our solar system, we need to be able to travel at the speed of light. So everything we will be discussed today is completely theoretical. Ethan, you got anything to say on this?
Yeah, well, I mean, there are so many exoplanets that we know of, and so many more that we don't know of. Over 1,000 of these planets have been found by the Kepler Space Telescope, which is astounding because the telescope only reached orbit in 2009, which was only 8 years ago.
9.
Yeah, amazing technological development. And the telescope also discovered a new class of planet, the super-Earths. These planets are generally between the size of Earth and Neptune, and some of them are in the habitable zone of their suns. So, super-Earths are basically just Earths that are larger and more than likely habitable. So, I guess we're faced with this moral dilemma of whether we should inhabit these planets, seeing as though we've already screwed up this one. Do you have any thoughts on this, Will?
I think we should be confined to this planet and this planet alone. What about you?
See, this is an interesting topic, because obviously we have caused, global warming and everything like that.
Good old CFCs.
And one could argue, that, we shouldn't inhabit these planets because we would simply be corrupted by this power of settling a new planet.
Yes.
But I think that there would be a way that you could inhabit a planet without completely screwing everything up. Obviously, laws would be a lot tighter. Yeah. What kind of laws do you think we could put in place in order to stop people from, I guess, wrecking newly discovered planets?
Most of the ones we have now, like no CFCs.
Mm-hmm.
We had that for a while, but obviously they're now banned worldwide. But they're still destroying the ozone layer. But what they do is in the summer and in winter and autumn kind of months, they freeze and they come back down to the ground, and they're not doing anything to the ozone layer. But as soon as it gets warm in the spring, summer months, they warm up again and come back up into the atmosphere and starts the cycle all over again. So
I didn't know that. Yeah. That's really interesting.
So even stuff that has been there for 50 years is still there doing damage to the ozone layer.
Yeah, well, I think a complete elimination of those, in fact, I think that they would be banned from even being created on this new theoretical world. Personally, I was thinking that in order to make the journey over there, you might have to take some kind of test or be in some high percentage of people who have proven that they're ethically sound, or they make good moral decisions. What do you think about that?
So what you're saying is no Americans and mostly no Poms.
Well, I don't know, maybe.
And no French, because they're all cowards. and no Barnaby Joyces, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. The embezzlement, the embezzlement type.
And cheating type. Yes.
But I mean, it's already been kind of done in movies before. For instance, Elysium. I haven't seen Elysium, but
neither have I.
Yeah, but I know the concept is essentially like if you're rich enough, you can buy your way into a perfect world.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should be based on money at all.
No.
But then again, you would have to think about like the logistics of attempting to implement something like this. How could you create a test that everybody in the world would have access to and would be able to complete?
On Google.
But
That's
like,
the easiest way I can
what?
put it on Google.
But like, what if you had, like a tribe in South America that is completely isolated from technology, but
You
still.
fax it to them. Surely they'd have a fax machine still.
But like, those tribes where they specifically don't have any outside contact, so that they
Oh,
can.
the Amish.
Yeah, like the Amish.
You take it to them by horse.
Mm.
You burn it into their crops with a giant laser.
Like massive crop circles, and they walk outside and go,
Yes.
the aliens have sent us a message.
Yes. Again.
Yeah.
I think another example in movies is The Martian.
The Martian. I haven't seen that. Explain it to me.
Neither have I. Basically, Matt Damon, the actor, not character, he goes to Mars. He goes to Mars with a team, and I think they end up leaving without him somehow, and he's trapped there for ages. And he has to end up growing his own food. He realizes that he uses his own feces for fertilizer. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but that's pretty much as I know. And
Yeah,
they end up going back to get him and bring him back.
That's pretty grim. But
Elysium was Matt Damon.
That's a movie
as well.
I've been meaning to see for a while. But yeah. Well. So I guess, look, my thinking on this is really just providing, obviously, that we can make it to these planets. I think that you would need to be able to screen society. But then you run into this moral problem of, well, people are obviously subject to change over many years, and someone who is, maybe considered bad, or has done bad things or makes bad decisions or what have you, can easily change if they put in enough effort over a period of time. So you would have to have a very strict, very tough punishment and governmental system in order to properly govern that.
Not like the one we have now, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, the one we have now doesn't really seem to be effective in eliminating complete corporate corruption.
Yeah. What would you feel about capital punishment?
Capital punishment.
Death by
I think that's
hanging.
interesting. I personally wouldn't be for capital punishment.
No.
I think, if anything, a planet that acts as a sort of open world prison would be an interesting idea.
What if we built a big space station for it? Kept them all in there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, but then you also have the problem that happened in Guardians of the Galaxy
What if they get out?
they escaped.
Yes, but most people aren't Rocket Raccoon. They don't know how to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but like, if you put them in a space station which definitely has docked spaceships on it, then you face the problem of possible prison escapes, and then inmates leaving via the spaceships and just going wherever they feel like. And if we have faster than light technology, then that means that they would be able to just go wherever they felt like. So I think putting them on a planet where you just kind of put them there, and there are, structures and what have you there, and things that they can then live off, and then just kind of leaving them. Would that not be a bad idea? But then, yeah, I don't know. What are your problems with that?
Can they survive there? Is the number one thing. Because I mean, obviously, you don't want them to die straight away, at least. I don't know. I haven't really thought about the imprisonment side of it. So you were saying before, speed of light travel, how long do you think it'll be before we reach that point?
I think that it is probably at least 150 years off.
Really? That long?
Yeah, I really think so. Unless we can make some really rapid changes, then I really don't think that it's going to be very soon because it doesn't it like violate some fundamental laws or something if
You
you
mean
travel.
you mean ethical or physics?
No, physics.
I'm not sure. You do physics, don't you?
Yeah,
You tell me
Revan.
then.
I'm fairly sure it violates some fundamental laws.
What, A equals MC squared?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I know that it's generally considered impossible. I mean, I assume you know what that E equals MC squared is?
Yeah, energy equals the mass multiplied by the constant, which is speed of light in a vacuum.
Squared.
Oh, yeah, squared, obviously.
You gotta carry that too, mate.
Yep, always.
Which
It's
basically
pretty
means
important.
that it's in constant flux. The energy needed to travel at the speed of light is mass of all the objects times by the speed of light squared, which would make adding that amount of energy would make the mass go up, which would make the energy go up, which would make the mass go up. Am I right?
Yes, that
Okay.
sounds about right.
So it's at this point at least it's impossible. But like we were saying last week, you never really know. Like they could have invented super space travel already, and that maybe they're already using it. We just don't know about it.
Yeah, they might be keeping it from us. And that's an interesting train of thought, I guess.
Yes.
That we're already extremely technologically advanced, but it's just not available to the public.
Yeah. I think.
I mean, there's obviously the conspiracist train of thought that says that we've already colonized Mars.
You never know. We might have.
Yeah. There's unless you can get 100% definitive proof that Mars is completely uninhabited, like you know.
What do you think about colonizing planets within our solar system, like Mars?
I think that honestly, I think the same way about exoplanets really.
Yeah.
You would have to be very careful so as to not have a repeat of what's happened on Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, with Mars, it's pretty much already a desert. So
Yeah. Well, they believe now that it used to be like Earth, and that maybe a civilization destroyed it, and that's where we're going with it as well.
oh, that's an interesting thought.
Or maybe it was just got real old and there was nothing there and everything dried up. I don't know. But there's signs. I know they found some sort of living bacteria in the water there, or something like that.
Yeah, I think they found organisms
Yeah, but I think
present there.
the problem with the water there is I think it's very carbon dioxide rich.
Is it?
It's either rich in carbon dioxide or it's heavy water, so it's got extra. It's an isotope of water, and it's like or hydrogen. It's like tritium or deuterium or something. It's either carbon dioxide rich or hydrogen rich, which they use tritium in cooling ponds at nuclear power plants.
Yeah, I wouldn't be drinking that.
No, because it gives off its own little bit of radiation.
Yeah.
Either way, the water there's not safe.
And also a lack of atmosphere.
That too.
You would need to create an atmosphere, essentially.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see how Elon Musk is planning to solve that problem.
Yeah. What about colonizing Venus, the hottest of our planets?
Well, if you want to live on somewhere where it essentially has an oven surrounding it, like, sure.
Yeah, well,
If you can create a stable atmosphere that's cool, then my thought would really just be the same as the other exoplanets.
the fact of the matter is, though, that's not possible at this point
Sorry?
in time. The fact of the matter is, though, that that's not possible at this point in time.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of out of the question, really.
Yeah.
But and also the same thing is true with the gas planets, because I'm fairly sure
they're
that they've
gas.
got no stable
No.
or solid ground on them
No.
as far as we've seen.
Well, that's why they're called gas giants.
Yeah.
I know, at least we could probably live on some of the big moons of Jupiter or Saturn.
Like Titan.
Yeah, or there's other ones I can't think of the name of.
There's like 60 moons around Jupiter.
Yeah.
It's like 60 something.
I think there's
moons,
about
yeah.
60 around both of them.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
you'd have to imagine that you would be able to, if you could create an atmosphere, then you would imagine you'd be able to regulate that atmosphere, maybe even through the greenhouse effect, using the greenhouse effect to a beneficial extent to warm
Yeah.
up the atmosphere, and then allowing it to be habitable
Yeah.
by humans. Yeah.
What if we colonized like 3 or 4 dwarf planets? Like there's one in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Pluto doesn't count anymore because last year they reclassified it as a normal planet.
Why?
I don't know.
What changed their mind?
I have no idea.
Pluto was feeling bad, so we cheered it up by making it a real planet.
Yes. And now Mickey Mouse is very happy. Oh, so's Goofy. And Donald.
the whole gang.
Yeah. Minnie. Oh.
Yep.
Could you imagine if Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse found out they were brother and sister?
Whoa.
It's like Luke
So-
and Leia.
Yeah.
That one scene. Darth Vader's
So,
like when he
Anyway,
tells
you were
Luke-
talking about the exoplanets. Sorry, not the exoplanets, the dwarf planets.
Yeah.
Already in our solar system and colonizing them.
Yeah.
What were you going to say about that?
Like if we sent 2 or 3 billion people to one, and then 2 or 3 billion people to another one, that kind of evens out the population, I guess, rather than
I think that
chucking
that's
it on
a-
one big planet.
I think that's a fair idea. You have, you separate the population into groups.
Yeah.
Then you
Maybe you could do it by the type of citizen. Like you could have the stupid people, you could have the smart people, you could have the prisoner people. You know what
But
I
then,
mean?
okay, so I understand your point, but categorizing intelligence is difficult because of all the different.
It wouldn't have to be specifically. You could do it like rich people, poor people, middle income.
Okay, so
Or you could spread it out.
say you just like evenly split up the population
Yeah.
and sent them to different exoplanets.
Yeah.
You would have a problem where governments wouldn't want to relinquish their power and give away their money to equally split up between the different countries so as to support the thriving planets. So you would really,
You know,
I mean,
you
you got to sort out the corruption on Earth before you then move on to other planets, I reckon.
What if you put all the corrupt people on one planet?
That's an interesting idea.
You put
The only
Donald-
problem is actually categorizing, like clearly cutting all the different people who are corrupt, because corruption isn't exactly clear cut.
No, but I mean it's a very broad term. But
Yeah.
it's still easy to find those who are and aren't corrupt.
I would say so too.
Like
But
you
one
put-
might argue that simply gaining a position of power corrupts someone. I think I can't remember who said it, but
Gandhi.
I think it said that power corrupts. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Was it Martin Luther King?
Not sure.
Or was it Gandhi?
Not sure.
Could have been.
I don't
either of
imagine it
those
was
people.
either of those two.
Could have been Indira Gandhi.
I don't see where
Mahatma
it could have fit
Gandhi.
into Martin Luther King's rhetoric.
Well, he was.
Oh, actually, no. He was against racism, and racism really is just a corruption of power.
Yeah.
And Gandhi was trying to
what I'm
fight the
saying.
oppressive British rule.
That's what I'm saying. But Yeah, you put all your Donald Trumps and Harvey Weinsteins and Kevin Spaceys all on one planet. Because
Yeah.
it wouldn't just have to be
Yep.
political corruptness, would it?
No, I think you could just have an ethically bad.
People,
Yeah.
planet. That's what it would be
Ooh,
called.
here's an idea. What if you categorize people um, not by their income or by their intelligence, but instead you categorize them by ethics. You categorize them by how moral they are, and you devised a test to test their morality, and then you would go ahead and split up the population.
So what you say, but again, that would come down to income. Because you've got your real rich people who generally have no morale. You've got
Yeah.
you got your middle income who they don't want to do it, but they know they have to. And you got your poor people who need to work, they know that, but they just can't get any, and they generally have a fairly high morale.
Yeah. Well, then it comes back to the thing of money and power corrupts.
Yeah.
And so you will, if going with that, you will always have a society wherein you will have corrupt people.
Well,
Maybe humans aren't evolved enough to actually settle another planet.
maybe it's just
we are
instinct.
evolved enough to overcome corruption. What do you think about that?
I think that corruption will generally happen to anybody, as you said before. I mean, I know if I was made Prime Minister or President for you other US peoples, if I was put into a place of authority like that, I'd probably do some not very good things to get laws passed or...
Oh yeah, I imagine many people would, because
I think most people would, really.
I mean, you don't think of, a lot of people don't think of good and evil when they're doing something that is very clearly evil, because good and evil is really just a point of view. It's essentially just an opinion, devised really by the Christian moral code.
Are we bringing religion into this now?
Well, yeah, I guess
We could
this
divide-
really is just a debate about ethics and morals.
We could divide the planets up by religion.
Ooh, interesting.
You've got
So,
Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, atheism/agnosticism. You got your
but
Buddhism.
you would have such a large number of planets that you'd have to send people to. And what if
There's
someone
plenty.
changed their religion?
That's too bad, isn't it?
Sucks for you. You were
Tough.
born a Jew and now you're stuck on the Jewish planet.
Tough love. I was actually reading something earlier today about Randy Newman, the...
And who's that? Is he a senator or something?
No, he did the music for Toy Story. You know, You Got a Friend in Me.
Yeah, yep.
Randy Newman. He was... I think it was Randy Newman. Yeah. He was... his parents were Jewish, which therefore made him Jewish. But he didn't know what that was. And he was born in the time when being a Jew would kind of get you into trouble. So he was at school and this girl asked him to a dance. And the girl's father said, no, you can't invite him. He's a Jew. There's no place for Jews here. And a young Randy Newman said, all right then, if that's your decision, put the phone down, went to his father and asked him what a Jew was. he hadn't been raised a Jew. It's just that because his parents were
It's just that
Jewish.
he was by default a Jew because his parents were a Jew.
And his parents weren't even that religious. Which I think is funny.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think categorization via your parents' beliefs is not always a good thing. I think raising a child to develop their own belief system and develop their own sense of morality is a thing that we really need to look at doing more.
Yeah. Obviously, there's some things.
Obviously, parents will want to, instill some of their own beliefs in the child, but I think ultimately the child needs to be raised to realize that maybe everything their parents believe won't always be true 100% of the time.
And I think there's obviously some key things that need to be established. What's good, what's bad, what's wrong, what's right. Killing people
And
is...
then again we come back to where were those values originated, and
Yeah.
that was from the essentially really just the Bible.
Yeah, which is a big comic book.
Sorry?
It's a big comic book.
Yeah. A big comic book that people keep adding panels to over the millennia.
Yeah. You got your big writers like Frank Miller, Mark Millar. They're all writing in there. That talking bush, whatever that was about. So we're starting to run out of time.
I don't know.
We're gonna do a new segment. We're called recommendations. So we're gonna recommend something that you might, or that we might like to watch or read or whatever it may be. You guys can give us recommendations, or you might like to watch or listen to what we're talking about. So, do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, I'm gonna start classic here and go with really one of my favorite stories by the author H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Dunwich Horror by H.P. Lovecraft. A perfectly written piece that really encapsulates his amazing style of horror and psychological thriller.
See, I haven't read anything by Mr. Lovecraft before. I know he's done some fairly well-known pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Like he invented Cthulhu.
Yes.
What else has he done?
He created a new form of horror that was more of a psychological kind of horror than the prior, I guess, grotesque horror. And by grotesque horror, I'm more talking about like Frankenstein by Mary Shelley and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he invented Cthulhu. He created this extremely rich and dense world within his stories. And even though he only wrote short stories, they all link together in a really amazing way. So he created this whole structure of elder gods and different deities that people would worship and that kind of thing. And he really focused on, much like his peer Edgar Allan Poe, who he took a lot from. He enjoyed focusing on the aspect of the human psyche concerning insanity. So yeah, definitely get on that.
Yeah, I might have to.
Do you have any? What's your recommendation for this week, Will?
I have recently been reading Scott Snyder's run on Batman for the New 52 comics.
Yep.
I'm in volume 2, which is The City of Owls. The volume 1 was Court of the Owls, and it's real good.
Yep.
A couple of months ago, I read Batman Year One, which is by Frank Miller, and it's pretty much regarded as the best Batman origin. But I think Scott Snyder's a very talented writer, and if I'd go check that out. Comixology.
Sure. Yeah.
I find comic books can be very interesting. Some of them are long-winded and kind of don't make any sense. But
yeah, I can identify with that. I've had my fair share of comics that I've read that I don't really feel are going anywhere or relate to the plot that they're attempting to tell.
Yep. That and Superman Birthright, which was a Superman origin kind of story thing. But it's kind of, it doesn't really go in, I mean it kind of does, but it more goes into when he's like an adult and he's started to write for newspapers and stuff, and you see Martha Kent make the suit out of a quilt, and you see how they get to the whole oh, this is the difference between Superman and this is the difference between Clark Kent. Smack some glasses on him, give him a higher pitch voice, make him crouch a little bit. No, but that's good.
Well, I've always, I won't go as far as to say that I've disliked Superman. I would just probably put him as my least favorite superhero.
Yeah, I hate Superman.
Which, I don't know, we can discuss maybe in a future episode, but I've always found that he has had too much power and too little flaws to be a good character.
But they kind of changed that after, like, the mid-'80s. They went the Man of Steel route, where if you punch him hard enough, it's going to hurt him. It's not going to kill him, but it'll make him he'll get hurt by it. Before that, you had 70s Superman, where the only thing that could hurt him was kryptonite, and nothing else could do anything to him. And but yeah, I do hate Superman as a character. Fundamentally,
I'm sure the Birthright comic though would be quite interesting.
Yeah,
I'll definitely have to check that out. And you guys should also go out and check out these the comics that Will was talking about before as well.
Yes, like I said, Comixology. Go there, get them there. They can get expensive, but they're not too bad.
Yep.
All right, so I think that's it for this week.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Yep.
If you're listening for the first time, welcome. We hope you can join us again next week, where we will be going down the rabbit hole.
Right.
And that'll be an interesting episode.
Yes. I think we're talking about maybe a recently released Star Wars film.
Maybe you never know.
Yeah, see. All right.
All right.
We hope we've been totally truthful with you. We'll talk to you next time.